Music in the Cafe, a Lukanette alternate universe month-long fanfiction. I will be using the daily prompts found in the Lukanette September 2019 calendar. This is not mine. I will be putting the Tumblr page I found this on in the description box below. I do not claim any credit to it, only to the story. Thank you for watching, reading, or listening. Day 2, First Concert. Morning, Marinette said as Luca walked through the doors. Good morning, Marinette, he smiled. She was just as happy and bright as the day before. It had only been a week since Luca started coming into Ladybug's coffee, and he absolutely loved it and loved being able to come in and have a nice chat with the lovely owner. There was also a small possibility he had a crush on her as well, but that was way besides the point. Marinette was good company, and they talked about a lot of different things. Lately, for the past couple of days, they talked about the idea of Luca having a performance on her stage in the back. So, later I can set up the sound system so you can check it out and adjust to it, Marinette said, handing Luca his order. He took a sip of the Americano and thanked her. Do you need an amp, or do you play acoustic? Marinette said as she wiped down the espresso machine. I mainly play acoustic, but I go electric at times, he explained. Marinette nodded her head, keeping a mental note to grab the amp as she set up later that night. Morning, Tiki, she said as she spotted her red-haired employee. Plag will be here soon. He's just on his way. Late. Tiki rolled her eyes, thinking of the emo boy. Tiki, I heard you're getting good with latte art, Luca said, drinking his coffee. Yeah, I've been practicing, she blushed. Luca might actually play a concert soon in the back, Marinette said with a smile. Tiki smiled and looked at the blue-tipped hair boy. That's wonderful, she said. It's been a while since the back stage had been rented out for a performance. Last time there was a band of 5 that rented out the space. They had been good, but very loud and drum heavy, which was a distracting change in the calm coffee shop environment. So, what do you play? Tiki asked as she put on her apron. Guitar, he smiled. I'd like to make it big one day. Tiki raised an eyebrow and smiled. Wow, you'd get along very well with Sass then. He's a huge music person, although he's more musical theater than mainstream. Luca nodded his head. He had seen Sass only a couple of times when he was called in, but they never talked. Perhaps he could strike up a conversation about Broadway. Luca had trained with some musical theater majors, and he knew a thing or two about tapping on the big stage. I will see you all later tonight, Luca smiled and got up from the bar seat. Bye, Marinette waved as the bells chimed and when Luca opened the door to exit. Turning back around, Marinette saw Tiki and Plag giving her a look. You said you wanted a couple of days to think about it. It's been a couple of days, maybe even more, Tiki said, her arms crossed. Marinette sighed. A headache was forming again. She did decide, but fear was stopping her from actually following through with it. Love was a scary thing, and Marinette was not the bravest person ever. And that is why she was running a cafe, and not a clothing store like she'd always wanted to. She was just scared. The idea of doing something so baseless and unpredictable was making her feel nauseous. If she did, she needed to know it would pan out, or else Marinette was a huge ball of shaking nerves. I have thought about it. A lot, she stated, wiping down the counters with a wet rag to prepare for rush hour while trying to keep her rapid breathing under control so that Tiki and Plag wouldn't know and think that she was spazzing like a mad person. And? Plag pushed. Well, I've decided that Before Marinette could finish, the bell chimed. She let out a silent, shaky breath of relief as she turned around. Saved by the bell! Literally. Or more like, saved by Kagami! Oh my goodness! Marinette cried, a wide smile on her face. You're back already? I thought you'd get back on Tuesday! Kagami brightened a smile and gave a hug to her friend. What? Didn't want to see my face until then, she joked. Marinette laughed, happy to see an old friend again. It's a wonderful surprise, Marinette laughed. She said. Kagami flashed her pearly white and straight teeth at Tiki and Plag, who basically flew over to greet her. Hi, it's so nice to meet you, Tiki said, her hand out for a shake. Kagami replied with a delicate shake with her hand. So, how did you meet Mari? Plag asked. We met in high school. Kagami smiled. Cool, Plag said, sounding bored, but the smile on his face said otherwise. So, you have to tell me how everything is going. I will, Kagami said excitedly. I will. Right after rush hour, Marinette laughed. Do you have the time to wait that long? Kagami laughed and chose a spot at the bar to sit at. I've got all day. Throughout the next 45 minutes or so, Marinette would shoot Kagami little looks to either calm herself down or in an effort to not ignore her friend. There were, of course, many customers who would do the double take. It was no surprise, but luckily, no one talked to her. Okay, rush hour, or more like rush 45 minutes, is over, Marinette exclaimed, cleaning the counters. Alright, I want to know everything. So basically, I don't know if I should give relationships another chance. Kagami didn't say a word and only looked at her friend. Well, Marinette said impatiently and worried. Her breathing was unsteady again. Mari! Kagami cried loudly, causing the people in the cafe to look over. Sorry everyone. Anyways, go for it. Just because you have a bad experience once doesn't mean you're only gonna have a bad breakup. Give him a chance. He seems really nice, and Alia mentioned him when I was talking to her and said that you clearly have a good chance for something new and good. Marinette sighed, still unsure and nervous. Kagami took both of her friend's hands in her own and put them in her own, knowing Marinette just needed encouragement. Look, I can't promise you that he's the one, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that giving him a chance is giving yourself a chance at happiness. Marinette nodded her head. Okay, she said light and breathlessly. Thank goodness. For you, dear, you finally got her to take a leap of faith and do it. Tiki floated over and smiled. Kagami laughed as Tiki placed a latte in front of her. On the house, Marinette said kindly. She was going to take a chance and leap at love again. Well, at least the possibility of love. Thank you so much for letting me use your backspace, Luca said, looking around that night. Of course, Marinette said brightly. What's your set? Well, I was thinking of playing some acoustic when everyone was coming in, and then when more people get in, I'll do some covers, and then in the end, I'll sing a song I wrote myself, Luca said, strumming a chord. Wow, that sounds like it'll be amazing, Marinette said brightly, eyes gleaming. Luca laughed, adoring the way that she looked. Well, it's time for me to get ready for all the listeners who want a drink and some snacks tonight, she said. She said, looking at the clock. Marinette put on her apron and began to bake her signature macaroons. She made them blue, purple, and black to match Luca's aesthetic, making blueberry, grape, and chocolate flavors. Slowly but surely, people began to trickle in to watch Luca show off his talents and get Marinette's delicious drinks and treats. Hello, everyone. I really appreciate you all coming in to watch my first show. So, I'm about to get started. There are macaroons that you may get to snack on, and of course, awesome drinks, Luca said, and he began to sing his first song. Many people came by to get drinks and snacks, and then listen to the melodic voice of Luca. He was a very talented singer and guitarist. Thank you all for coming out and listening to me play. Now, I'm gonna end the night with a song I personally wrote. Marinette listened closely. She wanted to hear it, but before Luca practically refused to give her a sneak peek or listen to the song. Hi, can I get a medium-sized mocha with an extra shot of espresso? A customer asked, snapping Marinette out of her trance. Oh, yes, of course. And what's your name? She asked. Lila, the girl answered with an almost bored tone. Coming right up. Turning back around to prepare her coffee, Marinette fought the urge to roll her eyes. It wasn't uncommon to get such a rude customer, but it did happen. Normally, it was an entitled mother with young entitled children, rarely ever a person who looked like Marinette's age, but then again, there were plenty of people who didn't look their exact age, so she couldn't say much. The girl turned around and watched Luca as he began his song, and Marinette could see just the slightest bit of a crafty smile on her face. Marinette couldn't help but feel the slight tug in her heart, feeling protective over Luca. Her hands shaking and pulse rising for no reason whatsoever. She liked to see the best in everyone, but Lila had some aura or something that didn't feel quite right. And to make Marinette dislike you from the start was a hard feat to accomplish, and not a noble one either. Shaking off the negative feelings, Marinette paid attention to the song that Luca wrote. If I can take a chance on you, then you can take a chance on me. If I were to follow you, then you can follow me. If I was to say I love you, then you can say you love me. If I were there for you, then you can be there for me. Marinette listened to the chorus of Luca's song. It was such a sweet song. Marinette smiled at it. There you go. Marinette placed the coffee on the counter and offered a bright smile to Lila, who just looked at her and took her coffee, turning around and just walking out. Marinette took a deep breath and rolled her eyes at the equipment behind her to let off some steam. There weren't any more customers, so she just leaned against the counter and watched the end and listened to the end of Luca's song. If I can take a chance on you, will you take a chance on me? Right as he said those last words, he looked right at Marinette and smiled, bright as ever. Is it about me? She thought excitedly. A small smile crept onto her face. Well, I definitely take a chance on you.